There's no crying in baseball, and there shouldn't be any crying when you're cutting onions. It's a pretty simple trick, and I use this in my kitchen all the time. Before you cut onions, take a little bit of vinegar and put it on the cutting board. A small amount of vinegar is not going to affect the flavor of the onions, but it will definitely affect your eyes. What happens is that onions have a chemical inside the cells that's sulfur, and when it hits the air, when you cut into the onions, it forms sulfuric acid, very much like smog, only it's much more intense because it's very close to your face. The acid on the cutting board prevents that reaction from happening, so there'll be no more crying in onions. Next time, keep the vinegar close to the cutting board. When you're shopping for onions in the supermarket, you'll find that there are a number of different types. The most common onion is a yellow onion, or a Spanish onion. These sometimes have some heat to them, sometimes not. Another onion that you'll find in the supermarket is a white onion. The flavor is very similar to a yellow onion, only it has a lovely pearl-like finish to it. Onions should always feel very heavy for their size. That way you know that they're not old and have lost moisture. You may find a red or purple onion in your supermarket. This one can sometimes pack a bit of heat as well, and it also gives great color to salads. Because we live here in Washington, we have a lot of sweet onions. You can always tell a sweet onion because it's a bit flatter than your standard round yellow onion. And the flatter the onion, typically the sweeter it is. These don't keep as long as the other classic onions because of the sweetness. They tend to rot much more quickly. When you find these tiny flat onions in the supermarket, these are called cipollini. These are truly wonderful to cook with a bit of vinegar and sugar and make sweet and sour onions. Try these. So let's talk about this vinegar on the cutting board. I'm going to show you the fast way to peel and chop an onion. First thing you want to do is to cut the onion in half through the root end. Once you've done that, then you can quickly just take off the peel. Sometimes you need to take off the first layer of the onion itself. And you should still have the root end intact. That's important because it's going to hold the onion together while you're cutting it. You may need to trim off a little bit of brown on the end, and make sure you have your vinegar here on the board. Okay, so if you put the root end of the onion away from you and make cuts, not quite all the way through the root, but all the way to the cutting board, you're just going to make some slice cuts in the onion. The closer together you make them, the smaller your diced onion is going to be in the end. And then just go right down, perfectly diced onion. And there's no crying. So there you have it. You don't have to wear funny goggles. You don't have to do anything strange. Keep the vinegar close to your cutting board and there'll be no more crying with onions.